Gentlemen, welcome to another week. This is going to be a fun one. I'm excited. This is a very simple, old school drink. I think everyone's going to really enjoy it. We're bringing the gin back. People can feel fancy when we have gin cocktails. I feel like it's always nice. It's going to be a good week. I'm going to exact revenge on Pat, who in another fantasy league embarrassed me. So it's time for me to embarrass him this week, Pat. You're going down. So enjoy your drink. All right, folks, let's get started here. The cocktail of this week is the Gimlet. You've probably heard of a gimlet or heard somebody talk about a gimlet or mention a gimlet. It's very simple. It's gin, lime juice, and sugar. Simple syrup. A lot of people make their gimlets with lime cordial, which is a sugar and lime juice mixed together basically. Most famous is the Roses lime cordial you'll see. If you want to, you can make it that way. But I recommend not doing that just because that's those Roses lime cordials have a lot of like high fructose corn syrup and preservatives and stuff, and it's just better just to use actual lime juice. It's kind of like making a sour with actual lemons versus a sour mix, you know. It is possible, and I'm sure it's a fine drink regardless, but it's better to use the real stuff if you can. So we'll get started, and we have some questions. I'll start with maybe the toughest one. Nick asks, if I could only drink one cocktail for the rest of my life, what would it be? This is a mean one. I don't like this idea. That's a big, tough question. Let's see. We'll start with half an ounce of simple syrup. So here's the thing. At first, when I saw that, I thought, oh, easy. Because my favorite cocktail that I make is a Vesper Martini. Now, the problem is, when it comes to a Vesper Martini, 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lime juice, is that if you go to a bar and order it, it will not be at all like the Vesper Martini that I make, because I have my own proportions that I've kind of figured out over the years. It's how I like it, and it's anytime anyone wants to come visit up in the Twin Cities, I'll be happy to make you a martini. It is Vesper Martini is delight. It's the best cocktail I can make, and I love it forever and ever. But if I made that the only cocktail I drank, then I'd only be able to drink cocktails at home. I wouldn't be able to go order them at a bar, or I would order a Vesper Martini and it wouldn't be what I wanted, and I'd be sad probably. 2 ounces of gin to finish this off. So I'm gonna have to take that off probably, which means I'll never drink one again, which is sad. But I think that if I had to pick a cocktail that I would be comfortable ordering at a bar as well as making it home, some obvious answers, maybe like an old fashioned. You know, every bar has their own old fashioned. Some use bourbon, some use rye. You know, there's a wide range of old fashions and styles of old fashioned, and some people use lots of fruit or not very much fruit, and so you could still get a little like kind of twist and different when you go places, but it's still, you know, it's kind of the original cocktail. It's amazing, you know, especially if you like good bourbon or good rye, just whiskey in general. But I do think my answer is actually a Sazerac. I believe I made one of these last season or the season before. It must, you know, it was the first season because it was before I gave a list of bottles for people to get, because you need a bottle of absinthe or herb saint to make a Sazerac. But it's an amazing cocktail. A Sazerac is so good. I truly love them. It's very bare bones and basic. It's just rye whiskey and a sugar cube and a whole bunch of Peychaud's bitters with just a mist of absinthe in the glass before you pour the drink. And then a lemon twist. It's an amazing drink. I really can drink those all the time. And if that's the only cocktail I could ever have for the rest of my life, I think I could live with it. A Sazerac. But a martini, a Vesper Martini is a close second. I just don't think I would like other people's versions. I just kind of like the way I do it. So All right, so we got everything into our mixer, our shaker. We are using fresh lime juice, which means we are shaking it. I suppose if you did use lime cordial, you could stir it instead, but I wouldn't recommend that. I think even if you use a cordial, you should shake it just because that's what they want you to do. Oh, another option is you can make your own lime cordial. I didn't. I do have a recipe for one, and I've thought about making it, but I don't drink Gimlets enough, so maybe that'll change them. All right, I'm gonna go get some ice so we can shake this up. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Got the ice in there. I've got my coupe glass, a chilled coupe glass. It's chilling with the ice. This is a drink that you put into a chilled glass with no ice, so something to keep in mind. And I do have another question, just one more. Brian wants to know, BK wants to know, got a lot of false start questions he was giving me, but his final question was, have you used ChatGPT like AIs, ? And do I see any use for them? Now, I don't believe I have used a ChatGPT, whatever it's called. I do know, working with Nick on the Liquored Up Cocktail book, he was using some AI type thing, try and get some like illustration type pictures of like funny comical pictures of a bartender with a mustache or whatever for the book and stuff. But other than that, I've never used it, no. Let's pour this Gimlet out. Oh yeah. All right, so the very tip top of that coupe glass. That's the way it should be. Oh man, is that good. Holy cow. I need to make more Gimlets. I might have to start making some lime cordials because that's amazing. I've had these before, but it's just I don't have them very often. Wow. Do I think there is any use? Do I see any use for them? I mean, here's the thing. As a creative person, I feel like there's a lot of issues with AI and stuff, you know. I mean, if you think about it, if you're using ChatGPT or some AI stuff to try and help summarize a book or something you read, and you want to help like write a report or something, and you use the AI to help summarize it or whatever, they are, my understanding is it's kind of scoured through the internet and picked out all these other summaries of the book and kind of made a concise version of all these different summaries for you to use as a summary, but you're essentially still just stealing other people's words. People, you know, writers or whoever, creative people. So it still is, you know, taking somebody's another person's creative output and not compensating them for it at all. I just think there's a lot of issues with using AI for any creative thing. That said, it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's not like it's just going to disappear. So I've kind of made my peace with the fact that ChatGPT and AI of that ilk will continue to be used in the society. And with that in mind, I do think there are probably uses for it. I don't really have any specific examples off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are things where it's very beneficial to have that. So, you know, hopefully for the beneficial reasons it's used properly, and hopefully we don't stray too far away from continuing to value the creative output of human beings, which I think will remain dominant, or will remain better than anything AI could come up with. So we'll see about that. Getting all serious. I'm sure there's really silly reasons to use ChatGPT that are awesome too. I don't know. Maybe all of Brian's Friday morning fullback emails are all AI generated. Who knows? Anyway, gentlemen, enjoy your Gimlet. It's a great cocktail on a warm day. Probably a good cocktail any day, but it'll be a particularly sweet cocktail this weekend when I beat Pat's ass, literally and figuratively. Cheers, gentlemen. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your cocktails. I'll see you next time.